Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day. I'm Dean Courtier and I'm part of the leadership team of the Estuary Elim Church. Here's a question for you. What is your attitude? Most people have an attitude of some kind. An attitude about life. Some have a good attitude. Others have a very different attitude when it comes to looking at life. Do you remember the TV series The A-Team? Mr. T played the part of B.A. Baracus. The initials B.A. were short for bad attitude. Many people seem to find it easy to have a bad attitude. Some people are quick to moan and complain about something if they don't like it. Moaners and complainers have a bad attitude about life. They're always looking at things in a negative way. Some people have a good attitude about life. They try to focus on the good things of life and the good in people. They are generally quick to give thanks and praise to others. But what about you? What is your attitude in life? Both the hummingbird and vultures fly over the desert. All vultures see is rotten meat because that is what they look for. They thrive on that diet. Hummingbirds ignore the smelly flesh of dead animals. They look for the colourful flowers of desert plants. Vultures live on what was, they live on the past. They fill themselves with what is dead. Hummingbirds live on what is. They seek new life. They fill themselves with freshness and life. Each bird finds what it's looking for, and we all do. But which are you most like? Are you a vulture or a hummingbird? I want us to look at the parable of the Good Samaritan, a parable that reveals there are three basic attitudes people have towards others. There's the attitude of the robbers, the attitude of the priest and the Levite, and the attitude of the Samaritan. Let's think about the attitude of the robbers. What's yours is mine, and I'm going to get it. Let me read to you Luke chapter 10 verse 30. A Jewish man was travelling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him up, and left him half dead beside the road. Friends, there are many ways of stripping people, robbing people, and leaving them half dead. Ephesians 4 verse 28 tells us, if you are a thief, quit stealing. Instead, use your hands for good, hard work, and then give generously to others in need. Theft is everywhere, and it comes in various forms. Theft of money, theft of material items, theft of food, theft of time, and the list goes on. There was a businessman on his deathbed, and he called his friend and said, Bill, I want you to promise me that when I die, you will have my remains cremated. And what, his friend asked, do you want me to do with your ashes? The businessman said, just put them in an envelope and send them to the tax office, and write on the envelope, now you have everything. Then there's the attitude of the priest and the Levite. What's mine is mine, and I'm going to keep it. Luke chapter 10 verses 31 and 32. By chance a priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. A temple assistant walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Most of us have several thoughts about the priest and the Levite. Perhaps they were busy, they didn't have time, they had too much religious business to be carried out. They had to get to the temple. Perhaps they were thinking, there is always someone who wants something, pretenders, they're no good anyway. Too many people in this world think about only their own needs. They are only interested in doing things for themselves. They think in terms of not sharing or caring or serving others. What's mine is mine, and I'm going to keep it. My time, my talent, my comfort, my energy, my everything. I've worked hard for what I have, it's mine, and I'm going to keep it. Some people think more generously. Some people care for more than just themselves. They think about others. The what's mine is mine attitude is horrible. What does John 3:16 say? For this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. If we love, we should want to give. Not sharing is selfish. Giving is godly. John G. Wendell and his sisters were some of the most miserly people of all time. Although they had received a huge inheritance from their parents, they spent very little of it and did all they could to keep their wealth for themselves. John was able to influence 5 of his 6 sisters never to marry, and they lived in the same house in New York City for 50 years. When the last sister died in 1931, her estate was valued at more than $100 million. Her only dress was the one that she had made herself, and she had worn it for 25 years. The Wendells had such a compulsion to hold on to their possessions that they actually lived like paupers. Crazy, isn't it, to have such assets and not use them? Listen, here's an example of something even crazier. Ragged clothes, never enough food to eat, virtually no medical attention, poor sleeping quarters, little or no time for recreation or rest, no time for family. Sounds like a poor person in a terrible shape, doesn't it? Not so. Her name was Hetty Green, and at one time she was the richest and most detested woman in America. Hetty Green had $100 million in the bank, and yet she ate cream crackers and cold porridge because she was too cheap to buy good food. She lived the last 20 years of her life with a painful hernia because she would not spend the money, which was only $150 at the time, for an operation. She tried to relieve the pain by placing a stick over the hernia and binding it to her body with rags. Her own son's leg had to be amputated because she was too cheap to take him to a doctor. She tried for several days to get free medical attention, but each doctor she went to recognized her as a millionaire and refused to treat the boy for free. When she was at last ready to pay a doctor, she went to a local doctor and was told that the boy's leg would have to be amputated above the knee. With millions of dollars in the bank, Hetty Green spent half the night searching for a lost 2-cent postage stamp. Another time she attempted to forge the signature of her deceased aunt in an attempt to get another $1 million. Hetty Green's father was Edward Black Hawk Robinson. He sat her on his knee. He read to her the business news and stock market reports when she was only 5 years old. Hetty Green claimed to have read them by herself when she was 6 years old. She was brainwashed as a baby with a mercenary philosophy that her father had. She grew into a ruthless financial tyrant who found it easier to make $1 million than to take a bath. When she died, the fortune that enslaved her continued to plague her playboy son and daughter. The story of Hetty Green is the story of a slave to money. She was something of a thief and definitely a hoarder. Matthew 16:26. What do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your own soul? A person with the attitude, what's mine is mine and I'm going to keep it, can walk right by any hurting or helpless person without even giving them the time of the day. Some people can have the church offering bag passed by them, and grudgingly they'll drop in £1. But that same person would think nothing about spending £4 on a cup of coffee at Costa Coffee. Some people can sing "Count Your Blessings," yet not give a thought about sharing those blessings with others. Some think only of how they can keep what they have, save, get more, make more. Proverbs 11:26 tells us, people curse those who hoard their grain, but they bless the one who sells in time of need. Or 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 17 to 19. Teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future, so that they may experience true life. Then there's the attitude of the Samaritan, the attitude of giving. What's mine is yours, and I will give it. Luke chapter 10, verses 33 and onwards. Then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Going over to him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with olive oil and wine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn where he took care of him. The next day he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, "Take care of this man. If his bill runs higher than this, I'll pay you next time I'm here." Blessed be the Samaritan. Blessed be all good Samaritans. Proverbs 11:25. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Or Proverbs 14:31. Those who oppress the poor insult their maker, but helping the poor honours him. When he saw him, the good Samaritan saw the helpless and hurting through the eyes of Jesus. Jesus was one who always looked with compassion. Matthew 9, verse 36. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were confused and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. When our Lord looked at people, he saw the deep hurt that they had in life. If anyone knows the pain that we experience in life, Jesus does. And Jesus doesn't just look and wonder and say, well, what's wrong with them? He looks with compassion and desires to bring peace where there has been pain, comfort where there's been cruelty, healing where there has been hurt. The Good Samaritan came with that same look, that same heart, that same compassion, that same love. For God so loved the world that he gave. The Samaritan so loved that he gave. He gave of himself, his time, his energy, and his resources. Are you also moved to give? Are you moved when you see hurting people? Are you moved to want to remove hurt and bring healing? As Christians, we should be moved when it comes to hurting and seemingly helpless people. Instead of wondering about them, we should show them love. We should minister to them. We should give ourselves to them. We should give whatever we can in order to help them. Our compassion should not be limited to the aged, the infirm, or the dying. Our ministry of compassion, giving and love should reach out to all people. Single parents, separated people, struggling people. Our Good Samaritan ministry should reach out to all people who are hurting. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 and 10. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family of faith. To God be the glory for all the good we do for others. God has placed us here to be good Samaritans in every way possible. God put us here to demonstrate mercy, compassion, and to minister to others anytime and any place. We need to think more of others. We need to think more of others and less of us. To think more of what we can do for others. So what's your attitude towards people? Stealing, hoarding, or giving? There was an elderly widow restricted in her activities, and she was eager to serve Jesus. After praying about it, she realized that she could bless others by playing the piano. The next day, she placed a small advert in the paper. Pianist will play hymns by phone daily for those who are sick and despondent. The service is free. The advert included a number to call, and when people called, she would ask, "What hymn would you like to hear?" Within a few months, her playing had brought joy to several hundred people, and many of them freely poured out their hearts to her, and she was able to help them and encourage them. Friends, our attitude should be that of the Good Samaritan. It should be that of giving to others, any time, any place, any method. May God help each of us to have that giving attitude, because the giving attitude is a God attitude. May God bless you and assist you in your daily walk with Him. May you know His blessing and His touch on your life, that you can be a blessing to others around you. Thanks for listening. God bless.